So once upon a time, there was a company called, yeah, Cymatics. Before they were all big and shit, or, Getter was calling them out, they were a cool company. They were an actual, genuine company that I enjoyed. Like, I actually enjoyed the samples, the fucking presets and all that. It was fine. I was totally fine with this company. But, like, at that time, I was signed under a non-legally binding contract, and that's it. The only thing that contract basically said was that I was agreeing to being paid $125 for 25 presets. And that, I'm pretty sure that was for Goblins. They paid me like $150 for 25 or 20 fucking presets for the next pack. And he said if I get Nightmares patches done within like the next 2 days, which I had like no patches at the time. So he basically told me, hey, can you rush these presets? We'll pay you more. And then calls the presets that I gave him shit, like 6 months down the line. I'm gonna get a little further into that. At the time I signed this non-legally binding contract, I was 17, and I was told by a lot of people that my parents could somehow sue for that, which is because it's like underage, some bullshit. I don't really know how that goes. I have to look more into that. And just for comedic value, we're gonna throw this screenshot in because I believe this is also relevant. I can also show you that there's even like the bases in their trap style pack. I actually name some right now since I have my Ableton open. Synth loops. Synth loop 4 and 5 are the presets from... Where the fuck is the pack? I don't think he gave me the OG pack. That is... I'm pretty sure... Here, let me go through this. Death Row. That's one of them. I couldn't find loop 4 because I deleted a bunch of my old shit. It was probably involved in that. I actually just went through, like, all of my older presets and stuff, and it wasn't there, so. And that's not all. They've probably taken a lot more... Oh. Ooh. Now also there's this LFO pack that I have right here, where if I can find my serum folder, my LFO shapes. I was like, oh cool, LFO shapes, and I don't know why it says it's an AutoCAD file. I think SHPs are actually like shape files in AutoCAD. Every single one of these, I can practically guarantee at least 99% of them are from presets that I've given them, and they still have not credited me. They were just like, here, fucking all these LFOs and shit. You don't do that ever, especially without the artist's permission. Yeah, you bought my presets, but they're still my intellectual property. This is not something you give out for free without my permission. Plus, they're also making like $1 million a year. I think they're making more than that as a whole entire company. A lot more than that, as I was told by a couple of my colleagues. They do like analytics and stuff. That's what they came out with. Now my mom's calling me home. Oh my fuck. Holy fuck. I can quote Drew. He asked to replicate the sounds you hear in these tracks, and these tracks I mean like the packs in like Jaw, like those patches in Jaws. He literally just linked stuff and told, hey, make this. At the time, I didn't really think much of it. I'm just like, oh, okay, he wants us to remake sounds, and I didn't really understand that because I was like a fucking idiot. I was like 8 months into music production. I didn't really understand all of the legal shit. I tried, but I kind of didn't at all because those sounds were re-implemented samples and stuff. That's where he also calls my patches shit now. Well, Steven, I heard Steven was defaming me or like slandering me on stream earlier. He was basically saying, oh yeah, he left or we fired him because his stuff was shit or something. I don't know what, like, that was a rumor. He also deleted the previous broadcast, so I couldn't go to the stream and like look at what he actually said. So obviously he did say something, but again, that is a rumor that was passed down to me. And yes, they're still using variations of the same presets that were used. When I was finished working with them, I actually got a call when I was heading home from college around like, I think it was November, December, January, somewhere around the winter. Basically, Steven called me and fired me without any direct reason other than devaluing their company. That was the only direct thing that they told me. And then Drew later, like, I think 2 days later, was like, dude, you keep posting how many followers you're getting, and my posts, like, I probably can't find them. It was like me saying, oh my god, I actually hit 1K. I never thought this would happen. I'm extremely grateful. And then I would get a message by Drew, and he would say, hey, don't fucking do that, or some asinine thing that he would say. Like, I don't hate this dude, but he hates me. He has me blocked on social media, but he has been, doing dumb shit behind my back. And if there was any way I would like to solve this, it would be in mutual agreement. I made like some sub post or something. I subtweeted, if you want to say that, some guy that was messaging me about, goblins and nightmares, and most of his tracks on his SoundCloud had my presets and stuff. But he PM'd me and wanted to start some shit. So I posted well, this. That was relative to the packs and presets he was using. And then Drew saw it and was like, oh, wow, this is relative to the entire Cymatics company. He then messaged me first and said, hey, dude, you only made like 5% of anything you've ever given, like, and we only used like 1% of it. And then I was like, okay, when did I ever say that I made your fucking company? And he just said, oh, I have work to do, I can't really bother with you. Okay. Wow, Drew, why am I only relevant when I talk about Cymatics publicly, huh? So I'm only relevant when I mention Cymatics in my posts. It's kind of strange there, you know. But yeah, overall, Steven took about 30 minutes to an hour to fucking tell me I'm fired without actually saying I'm fired. It also took him about a month to pay me for a video review, which was like the last thing that I think I've done. You basically asked me to go through Terror and be like, hey, all of this is good. You basically wanted me to do good reviews, and like, going through that, I could recognize that there were, like, barely alive kicks, zombie snares, and especially the must die snare that everybody uses. I think I can actually go find that right now. Here we are. I'm just gonna bring this down. We don't need these. But as you can see, it is literally the exact same sample. Maybe this one had a little more compression and saturation, but this is the OG sample right here. And then this is his. It's the same fucking thing, dude. But yeah, and there's also been this image that was leaked. It was basically some guy that commented, and he actually did some algorithmical program and went through these samples and found certain samples in his library that were the exact same, or at least 99% similar to the things in Terror. So he found about like maybe 35 samples that were like kick snares from big popular artists. If we all remember the situation with Flumpy, who also happens to be an acquaintance of mine, what happened with him is basically he was trying to get a job position at Cymatics because at the time like there was no real big problem with them, and this is where it really started after Terror. Flumpy was about to give him maybe like 50 to 70 some growls and basses and shit, and he wouldn't give Drew, or in Cymatics as a whole, one sample, or like maybe 1 or 2 samples. And the only thing that Drew could say about that, he just fucking completely diverted the subject. He said he lied on his application. He never really specifically said anything about like where he lied, which is really sketchy. So he completely denied somebody of a job position. Dude's a monster, and he's gets denied because he won't give Drew one growl, that's just fucking disgusting. Producers are supposed to be able to keep at least some kind of secret to their sound design, or else everybody's just gonna keep recreating it. And if Flumpy blows up, what's gonna fucking happen? Speaking of which, I also have Flumpy in a call right now, and I'm gonna ask him a couple of questions about his experiences with Cymatics, because he offered to do this, I asked him, and all this other BS. So go ahead and tell me how the interview started and like what was said, what kind of went on during the call.
Okay, so the interview started off pretty normally. Like, it was actually super friendly. Like, when I first got to him, we kind of talked for a minute. Like, we talked about some personal stuff. Like, we talked about like what I did, and right off the bat, he liked to say that I lied on my application. I told him immediately. Like, I told him immediately at the start of, you know, like our conversation. You know, I told him I haven't actually been producing for 4 years. I just did that so it made me a little bit more noteworthy, in case you didn't want to listen to my actual music. And he says, oh no, dude, like I was actually a fan of your music way before you ever sent in the application. Like, I listen to Journey all the time. And they did. Like, if you go to Journey, you'll still see like a comment, maybe, unless I blocked them, I don't know. But yeah, he had already listened to Journey, and he was already a fan of it. Like, immediately after we started talking about like my other unreleased stuff, like me and him went over some tracks, we talked. Like, it was super chill. Like, I was super respectful. We were sharing jokes. He was telling me stuff about his girlfriend. Like, we were chilling, having a good time. And like, he told me some cool stuff about the packs that he did. And you know, we were actually just having a good time, actually. Like, he seemed like a really cool dude. Like, me and him were getting along swimmingly, if that's the right word for it.
That's exactly how I thought it was going to go when I had my first interview with him. I thought I was like, we were best friends at the end of the call. Down the line, he just kind of just started getting weirder every Skype call. Like, it was less we're friends, it's more this is a business that I need to, you know, make proclaimed, you know. And what happened at like the end of the interview? Like, what was going on towards the end?
Okay, so he likes to say that like it was unprofessional because I was at a friend's house. I had an hour to prepare, and I was already at a friend's house. Like, they didn't give me a warning as to when the interview would be. They didn't tell me a specific day. I don't know. Actually, they may have. I just don't remember. But either way, like, I told him, like, dude, I'm so sorry that, like, you know, I was at my friend's house, and like I even kicked my friend out of his own house to do this interview because I told him it's important. I apologized hundreds of times, you know, like I was being as respectful as possible. which is unusual for me. So, you know, that's kind of like how it went. And he said it was totally fine. Like everything he said, he made it sound like everything was perfectly fine. And at the end of the interview, at the end of it, he told me, like, man to man, like he was on video. I didn't have mine on because I was on my phone, and I didn't really have like anywhere to set it up or put it, and I didn't want to like sit there and hold it up. You know, it was kind of weird. But like he looked at the camera and he was talking to me, and he said, okay, well, dude, I have a lot of work for you. I'll be sending you some work today.
When did they get back to you?
When I started that whole shit storm on my Facebook, calling them out. And only then did they actually get back to me and say, you were never hired in the first place or something like that. Actually, they said it was because my mindset that they didn't want me. And it took them a month.
What triggered that?
Because I called them out. And like all of my fans and my friends started just attacking them and shitting on them because of what they did. Like I made it blatantly obvious. I even put up screenshots. And like it was me constantly trying to reach out to him on Skype, like on his, I think Twitter, like I tweeted at Cymatics, like, yo, can I get a contact number? I even went through like on Facebook, like on the post that he had made and replied to some of his posts saying, yo, dude, can you get back to me, man? Like, I know you're super busy. I was so fucking polite about it up until the last day where I kind of blew up, dude. Like, they spent a month letting me think that I had a job to just fucking blow me off. Like, that's not good shit. It's not how you run a company. That's not what you should fucking do. Like, I sat there without a job with no income for a month. In the state that I was in was not good. And so, like, I didn't have time for that.
My mom was always telling me, hey, you should go get a job down in, like, the Dairy Queen or something down the road. And that's, like, an ice cream parlor. It's, like, an on-the-road thing. Yeah. And, like, she would constantly bug me about getting a job. And I said, hey, Mom, I finally have a job thanks to these guys. These guys are great people. They said that they would pay me, like, $125 to $200 for just giving them my sounds. It's amazing. And because I wasn't like a big artist, that's what they did. And then I just never got that job, and they paid me like $400 over maybe an 8 or 9 month period. I forget how long I was with them.
Yeah, so like I sat there for a month with no income, and like I told him about it too. Like I said, like, you know, I don't really have any time to wait about it, so I want to get started as soon as possible. And he never gave any indication that I didn't have a job. When somebody came to me and said that they were willing to pay my salary, I took his word as law. Like that was law to me. Like that's what was going to happen, and it never did. And when that whole shitstorm started, if people still have screenshots of that, which I'm sure somebody does, you will see the contradiction from when it started, how they denied everything, to them coming to me in PMs and telling me to stop, please stop. They contradicted themselves at the end, because at first he said, you never had the job in the first place. And then later on, after in the fight, like when he was trying to do damage control, he said it was your mindset.
I'm gonna conclude that here. We recorded a lot of stuff, but yeah, that's all I got from Flumpy. Now this doesn't end here. I was also getting numerous complaints that he was also making fun of my disabilities, basically calling me a retard and saying that I have autism and all this other stuff. So he was basically making fun of my disabilities through private messages behind my back. And he was making fun of my presets as well, even though he still uses my stuff, as I can already prove. And the only thing overall that Cymatics has ever done good for me was they paid me about $450 some in download gaming. They got me maybe like 700 followers. And then there's the Getter situation, where apparently Drew was trying to pay multiple artists to cough up replicated project files for money, and then Cymatics tried to sell those project files, which is fucking disgusting. But in response, Steven made a video trying to explain why it was okay for him to take these project files and sell them.
What up, guys? I know there's been a lot of controversy lately about the whole Getter situation. I want to let you guys know we found something pretty interesting on SoundCloud. Here's Parkinson's White song from 2 years ago. Here's a Getter song from 1 year ago that he's selling on iTunes. Parkinson White's drop. Here's the drop that Getter stole. I think it's pretty fucked up, but what do you guys think?
Oh, well, me personally, I think you're a piece of shit. So, Steven, because Getter worked on this project with inspiration from Parkinson White, all of a sudden he's stealing? Getter and him are actually great friends, so it was obviously going to be heavily inspired by, you know, Parkinson White. Plus, this is like 2-year-old beef. All this shit kind of went down like 2, maybe even 3 years ago in a comment section. Basically, Getter was like, oh, me and him are friends, and like some guy was commenting some arrogant shit. So after this video, your opinions on Cymatics have probably altered. Now, Drew and Steven, they're probably going to watch this knowing them and, you know, how much I matter to them. They love me. They love everything that I do. Do you really still think that Cymatics is out there to help after seeing all the dumb shit in this video that they've done to, you know, people in the music industry? It's just absolutely disgusting. Hopefully you guys understand my point of view from this situation and a lot of other people's point of views. I'm probably not going to end up suing because I feel like I can do this in a more civil manner than, you know, filing a lawsuit. But I'm here to defend myself. They think I'm playing the victim card most likely. But in reality, I'm defending myself. And this is my, you know, public response to how they've been treating a lot of the people in the music scene. But overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned a little bit about the whole situation. And just an end note to this, just know that this is where I am now.
Computers now have primary control. Cymatics is fucking dead.